Where we can join Natalie.
And another stunning second half comeback from City this season sees us win it 2-1 today. I'm still joined in the studio by Joleon Lescott and by Keith Curle. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you very much to Alistair Mann and Steve Howie for the excellent commentary today. Oh, I got a bit sweaty at the end there, Joleon. I was getting nervous, were you?
Yeah, it was a little bit warm in here, to be fair, the last 5 minutes. But no, listen, the game was pretty comfortable when you analyse it. Obviously, the scoreline suggests otherwise, but overall, the performance was controlled and pretty comfortable from my perspective.
Yeah, I think the City started the game, got into their rhythm and their tempo very well. Then they had to deal with the disappointment of conceding just before half-time, but they showed good character in the second half. Didn't panic, didn't just start lumping the ball forward and put that gun-ho approach. Methodical in their build-up still. Slight tweaks with some of the personnel, stretching the width, but then great goal from Silva. Just felt forced to the right person at the right time and a great finish.
We're just seeing their pictures of the players celebrating with the fans in the away end. There is a definite sense of happiness there, but also I personally feel a bit of relief as well, Joleon. You know, and that's the end of this winless run.
Yeah, importance, relief, however you want to describe it. I think the players were aware that it was important they didn't drop points before other teams did in terms of the title challenge. So yeah, and when you've not won in a number of games, you just want to win regardless of how you perform. But again, when they look back at the game, it will be looked at as a positive in terms of the performance, never mind the result, because he said it's important to score, to win, but City has created and Pep have created a system that dominates possession, and I think they did that today.
Yeah, so if we have a look at chat about those two goals, the first one you mentioned there from Bernardo Silva, I was still in a sense of just being patient, Keith. It felt like it was going to come, and it did.
Yeah, was it 60 minutes, just after 60 minutes?
Yes.
In and around that time, I think an ideal time before the last 15, 20 minutes, because then he becomes a little bit more nervous. But then half an hour, then you think, yeah, now we're back in the rhythm, back in the stride.
So it's 62, and then it was only 3 minutes later than that we took our lead. It did feel like as soon as we got the first one, Joleon, the momentum, we were lifted a bit, and it did feel like the second one was coming, and it came very quickly after. Yeah,
definitely. Again, force and error from Luton. Obviously, they got caught trying to play, and they hadn't been doing that up until that point, and all of a sudden they got caught, and when they were outnumbered, it was always going to end up in a shot on goal, and probably debatable in the first run in terms of whether it was handball or was he offside when he received the pass, but all cleared by VAR for once. And then again, an important goal from Jack, probably not as tidy as he would have liked, but important nevertheless.
Yeah, there was a moment where I think we all took a breath and we went, what was it? Because you could see Jack mouthing like to Julian, yeah. Was that handball? Yeah. And then you could see Julian saying, no, it was face. And you could see Pep on the sideline hitting his face. And it was, thankfully, as well. But what was going on with the Luton defender in that second goal, do you think?
The second goal?
He was was it the second one?
Yeah, there was a number. Yeah, there was a few defenders that were kind of disjointed the pass from he passed it forward to Bell, and then he's gone out wide to receive it, and then it's left a gap. Bell's isolated, back to play, and from any defender's point of view, Byron John Stones, the last position you want to be in is in midfield, facing your own goal with someone closing you down, so with no pass to make either, so he loses it, and then when it was 3v1 maybe.
And it's something that they hadn't taken a lot of risks with the ball. And again, I think so. You've got to give Luton some credit within the game today, because I think if they can maintain that belief that they've had, they would have got over the last two games, even though they haven't got the results. The performances show. They took Arsenal, took Man City. And gave them very competitive games. If they can keep that belief in that change room, they will upset a number of teams at home, which I think is going to be important because they can take points off people.
Yeah, absolutely. You could see specifically as well, like you say, at home with that crowd that they had behind them as well. And as part of that crowd today, we have had FG and some of the legends that played in the last game at Kenilworth Road between Manchester City and Luton. He's now with Nicky Weaver, and Andy Morrison, who scored the goal in that game. It was 1-1 back then, and Paul Dickov. So let's go back over to Kenilworth Road now.
All right, full time here from Kenilworth Road. Manchester City 2-1 winners. Paul, good second half in the end.
Yeah, it was great second half. 1-0 down at half time. I'll just take over the mic, yeah. Getting it done. Great atmosphere. It's been a great day actually, isn't it? You know, Luton have looked after us so well. Great to see the lads again, and 3 points to top it off.
It's going to be a fun journey home, isn't it? Listen, at half-time we were 1-0 down, but I thought the team showed real grit and determination, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a game of two halves, obviously. It took a punch going 1-0 down just for half-time, but I thought second half it was dogged, determined, and we ground out a win. And it was an ugly win, but the most important thing today was getting a win, and that's what we've got.
3 points to take home with us, Andy. Let's talk about Jack Grealish. Nice for him to get on the score sheet, and he was really good today, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think that's 2 and 2, and we've been asking for more goals from Jack. We know what he brings to the team, but contributing in that way, and listen, it's a tremendous second half. It really was, because as Nicky said, the blow right on 47 minutes to go 1-0 down, to show the character second half, tremendous. And it's a big moment for me in the season. It really is.
Well, I was just about to ask that question as well. I'll ask you now, Paul. So we're heading towards Crystal Palace at home, of course, with Belgrade in a group that we've already won. If we are to win that game, then all of a sudden this panic is over, because we're going to the Club World Cup in good form, nice warm weather.
There was no panic at all, FG, anyway, at all. I said, we were talking on the way down, that as long as we're in touching distance, whether it's be at the top, second or third, going into January, whenever John Stone's more games under his belt, Kevin De Bruyne to come back, fully fit squads, I'm completely comfortable with it. But it was a great win today, tough win. Saying you can top that off against Palace, going into the World Cup, it'll be a great couple of weeks.
What's amazing about this post-match is Paul Dickov has managed to hold both mics on his own, because he's a legend and he can do whatever he wants. All right, before we head back to the studio, I've got a question for you and Nicky, actually. Do you know who the third to last person was to score a goal for Manchester City on this ground?
I've got a funny feeling it's this fella here. To be fair, he's not mentioned it all day, have you? That's all we've heard.
262 times up to now.
It was the same person that lost his man for the equaliser.
We'll let you guys back at home decide whose fault that was. We've got a journey home where he's going to mention it another 262 times. Let's head back to the studio. Thank you for joining us, gents. Cheers.
And I'll mention it 263 times for you, Andy Morrison, who scored the goal the last time City played at Kenilworth Road in a 1-1 draw against Luton, and apparently lost his man for that equalising goal as well. But thank you so much to FG. Thank you to all our legends that have travelled down to Kenilworth Road today. Looks like they've had a fantastic day out. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the whole video as well. Now, at the start of the show, we did clue 1 for our mystery blue today. Then we gave you a second clue, and then we ran out of time at half-time to give you the third clue. So I know that you're all waiting with extreme anticipation to get this third clue for today. So just to recap for you, this former Blue had a loan spell at Luton in 93-94. Clue 2 for you was this mystery Blue had 2 spells with City, totalling 200 appearances. Finally, clue 3, this player is part of the 98-99 squad which last played at Kenilworth Road. Any guesses? Because you had a guess, Keith, but I don't know if he played in the 98-99 team.
No. The only connection that I had with the players when I was here was Paul Walsh and Andy Dibble, who had Luton connections.
Did Ian Bishop ever play at Luton? Because he had 2 separate spells at City and he was part of that squad.
He wasn't here at 93-94.
Was he not?
Oh.
OK. Any idea, Joleon?
No.
You were a little whippersnapper at that time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was just leaving school in that year.
So we've got none. We've got no good, solid guesses that we think are it today. So let's find out who was today's mystery blue. What?
Luton.
It was Paul Dickov.
Didn't know he played for Luton.
Yeah.
I never kicked him for Luton.
Do you remember him playing in 93-94?
For Luton, no.
No, OK. We've seen it and we still don't believe it. So well done. The production team well and truly got us today. I don't know if anybody got that right answer. I don't think they did, you know.
Check that answer. I don't trust the production team, to be honest. Just check it.
Well, next time we see Paul Dickov, we'll check that one with us. We got no right answers on that as well. What we did get is a message. Oh, no, we did. One right answer. I apologise. Gaza. Oh, no, there's a few. Sorry. Gaza Howe, well done. Jez, well done. And Randy Barak. Well done. That sounds like a wrestling name, doesn't it? Well done to you as well. Also, thanks to Jessica, who sent us a message saying, I want to see Lescott DJ at the ground.
I've done
What do you think? Have you when?
A while ago, yeah. Do you know when they first started to do it, I did it then?
Yeah.
It's too cold, man.
Yeah.
It's way too cold.
Oh, what about when it gets warmer?
In the summer?
Yeah,
maybe.
So if I can hook you up with a spot at the ground before a game or half-time or...
You can hook me up. I can hook myself up that. I just said I've done it before. It's too cold out there.
Yeah, the Premier League winning Joleon Lescott needs my help for a hook-up. What about our Christmas party if we organise one?
Well, it depends on Callum, one of the producers. It depends if he comes through. Yeah. Okay. On the 22nd, if I'm in the studio.
OK, Callum, Joleon has thrown that down for you. Thank you for sending in your answers to the Mystery Blue, and thank you to Jessica as well for that message. So it's a very, very busy December period, 10 games in December, and we will be back on Wednesday for our final Champions League group game. Remember, we've already topped the group, so everybody take a deep sigh of relief. This is hopefully one that we can just enjoy. So we are taking on Red Star Belgrade on Wednesday. Now, remember, in case you didn't know, this is an early kickoff. It is a 5:45 UK time kickoff, so much earlier than perhaps that we are used to. We will be here for Matchday Live from 4:30 on Wednesday. I'll be here and I'll be joined by Sean Wright-Phillips, who's going to be fresh back from New York, Neda Manua and David James. So, you know, that's going to... I'm not going to speak that whole show, by the way.
It's going to be lively.
Just,
no, Neda and Sean.
Yeah, just let them speak. Just let them get on with it. So join us from 4:30. You'll also have Alistair Mann and Michael Brown on commentary, and we are sending out to Belgrade FG and Paul Dickoff. They are going to have a crack. Hey, we're keeping them too busy, by the way. Luton and then Belgrade a few days later. So it's the last game. We've already topped the group, Keith. So what sort of game are you expecting? Maybe will we see some perhaps players that were on the bench today?
I think the important thing is when you're trying to create that winning mentality and that winning environment, so you don't take your foot off the gas, it's all about maintaining high standards. Yeah, there might be some players that will get game time, but they've got to perform. It's not a charity. It's just one of those, right, so you know, it doesn't affect the qualification stages, but you want to go in and you want to maintain that winning mentality week in, week out.
Because, of course, in the Champions League last year when we went on to win it, we didn't lose a game for the whole run. So would that be important to you come Wednesday, Joleon?
Potentially, yeah. Obviously, they'll want to win. The manager and players will want to win, but slightly different to the travel aspect of it. I think there'll be changes. And then, obviously, off the back of next weekend's fixture, they're travelling across the world again. So I think that factor will indicate changes for me. I expect to see a high volume of changes and players that probably haven't featured, and one of them being Calvin Phillips.
You can also watch, because of course with every group stage game there is the UEFA Youth League as well. Our team have already qualified for the next stage as well. They've had a cracking run in the competition so far. I've really enjoyed watching them. That game is on City Plus. The kickoff is 1 p.m. and it's going to be a great challenge for them, because you imagine that the atmosphere out in Belgrade is going to be perhaps one that not all of them are used to playing in. And I guess that could be said as well for the game in the evening as well. That is a really hostile ground to go to. It's quite a famous ground as well. I've seen pictures of the tunnel that looks like I don't know what word to use to describe it that isn't going to get me in
Intimidating.
trouble. Intimidating. We'll just stick with that. How do you think that sort of intimidating atmosphere will affect the players, or will it?
Oh, no, I don't think it will. I think Luton today would have been in an intimidating environment because it's different. And again, I think City and the players and the staff and Pep showed today that it's one of those focusing on themselves and focus on making sure they do their jobs, whether it's on a bigger pitch, smaller pitch, big massive stadium, small stadium. It's one of those. It's about them producing and delivering the expectations that they have within themselves.
I imagine it's going to be electric, Joleon. Did you like playing in atmospheres that were hostile? Yeah.
Again, it was relatively new in regards to Champions League hostility or just Europe for me, getting there for Everton first of all. But them atmospheres, yeah, they're intense, but they have a different noise, don't they? Like we have intense atmospheres here, like today in Anfield, and there's other places in England, but the noise in Europe, it's a different sound. So that's the kind of thing that you can use as motivation to get the best at yourself, because you know it's going to be hostile.
The Champions League group stage for us so far has been, I think, satisfying. Obviously, the first half in the Leipzig game at home was not great, but of course we pulled it back in the second half. Whenever people have talked about us being in crisis, Keith, I always like to remember, well, the Champions League group stage is going brilliant for us. What have you made of City so far in the Champions League this season?
They're impressive, workmanlike. They've got the job done. I think, again, it's understanding that mentality that everybody else will have towards City. Everybody's trying to find a chink and a negative. And it's one of those, and as soon as you, so if you lose a game or draw a game, it's one of those, it massively gets amplified because everybody wants to see a chink. But if you have a look, the manager, the players, there's a unity, there's a belief, and there's an understanding of what they need to do. Because they've done it. They understand it. And again, I think they've got high standards amongst themselves as a group as well. They didn't want to draw 3 games and lose a game or go 4 games without a win. They know that's not acceptable. But the only way you can put it right is within the 90-95 minutes at a game, whether it's Luton, whether it's Arsenal, whether it's against Liverpool. Those 3 points today, massive, good standard set.
And I guess there's a feeling amongst all the teams that would play as well that they want to beat the champions of Europe. Of course you do.
Of course, yeah. As I said, for as long as City are everyone's hardest and biggest game, that's the position you want to be in from a club's perspective. So in terms of the Champions League, I think it's been very professional. Probably not as convincing in all the games as you would have anticipated, but I think in the group stages they come up against opposition that defend in a way that City probably hate the most. I think in the knockout stages when you're facing the bigger teams, so-called bigger teams, they all have their ego involved and believe they can beat City in a certain way and a certain style, and that's when they come unstuck. I think if teams tend to go toe-to-toe with this Pep squad, I think they find it more difficult than teams that sit back. And we've seen Leipzig learn from last season. They conceded 7, was it at home, and then all of a sudden they've gone, no, we're not going to do that again. We'll just go a bit more direct. And you'd like to think people are learning from that perspective, where I think we get to knockouts. Bayern Munich, I think, no, we'll have another go at what we try to do and what we believe we're good at, and then that's when they come unstuck.
Lovely, thank you. So busy week ahead. So City take on Red Star Belgrade on Wednesday, 5:45 p.m. UK time kickoff for that one. We'll be here for Matchday Live from 4:30. Earlier in the day, a 1 o'clock kickoff in the UEFA Youth League. You can watch that game on City Plus, and then of course we are back next weekend again for the Crystal Palace game in the Premier League before the team goes off to take part in the Club World Cup as well. So busy time here. Thank you very much for joining us, Joleon Lescott. Thank you. We didn't settle on a DJ name for you, but we will. With lots of games coming up, we will. Keith, thank you so much. We very much liked your Elvis impression and having your company today as well. Thank you very much, and thank you all for joining us on Match Day Live. We're going to finish up now. We've managed to have a chat with Mateo Kovacic at the end of the game. So enjoy this chat, and we'll see you all on Wednesday.
Mateo, that was an excellent second half turnaround. Just a few minutes after the final whistle, how big are 3 points does that feel?
Big 3 points, but I think we showed overall great football. In the first half especially we played very well. We found a lot of players in the pockets which we wanted and had these half chances. We missed maybe the final touch and then they score, which is never easy when you concede in the last minutes, but then we showed great character as this team showed over many years now, and it's a big 3 points for us.
You talk about the good football we played in the first half, but we didn't score until the second half. Was it literally just that finishing touch that we needed in the second half?
I think so. Maybe a bit more aggression, but I think we played overall very good. And in the end, when you do your thing and insist, the goals come. And today the 2 goals come. I think we could have scored even more, but we are happy with the 3 points.
And I wanted to talk about the challenge of Kenilworth Road as well. It's a hostile ground. Luton are a different team to the kind of team that we've been playing recently. How tough did you find it against them?
Tough. I think we saw in the recent games that big teams came here and struggle, and so we know it would not be easy. But we showed that even the circumstances are like this, we can do our best and play good football. So I think this team showed over the years that in the tough moments they are there, and we showed that again today.
And we were without Erling today, but we still scored 2 and got the win. How big a statement is it to win even without him on the pitch?
Yeah, obviously we miss key players like Erling, Kevin, so it's never easy when you miss such big players, but they are not in the moment here. We need to give everybody 10-20% more, and like we did today, and then we can win games.
And after the tricky results of the last few weeks, does that feel like a big confidence boost in the dressing room?
Yeah, but I think the team was confident because we were playing good. We had a bad result, not bad results. I mean, some draws where we could win, but this is football sometimes, and then it's about how you come back. And today we come back in a good way.
And just finally, busy December coming up. lots of players need to step up. Do you feel ready for all the challenges to come over the next few weeks?
Yeah, I'm ready. I had a few injuries in the beginning, but now I feel good, and the most important for me is to be healthy and to be able to be on the pitch.
Excellent. Thank you, Mateo. Well played today.
Thank you.